You're listening to Graphic Novel Explorers Club podcast, an audio book club.
Greetings, explorers, and Merry Christmas. I'm one of your hosts, Francis, joined by
Johnny Hanukkah Flores.
And
the ghost of Christmas future, Dennis.
Today we are discussing Hellboy, A Christmas Underground by Mignola. We hope you have already read today's title because all three of us have read the book, so beware, spoilers ahead. Explorers can share their opinions and thoughts with us by leaving a comment on our Facebook page or over on Twitter and Instagram at GN Explorers Club. Graphic Novel Explorers Club is available on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and wherever podcasts are available.
And so, if you're wondering where we're at, we're not in a techno club. We're not in the Matrix.
We're not?
I'm assuming we're not in the Matrix.
Are we in that bad techno dance scene where they're dancing right before...
In the second movie or the third movie?
Yeah.
Or are we in Hackers?
Or Blade 2.
Or Blade 2 or 3. No, we're at...
Or Underworld.
Yeah. We're at Crocker Art Museum's CrockerCon. We do this is our third year in a row, I think, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we always have a really good time at this. It's at our home base in Sacramento. It's our local Metropolitan Museum. And they do the CrockerCon event every September. So thanks to Crocker, thanks to Eben and Stephanie who curate the event for having us out.
Thank you very much.
And thank you to Christ for having a birthday.
Yes,
and giving
which
us
we're
this
celebrating
Hellboy
in
special.
September.
Yes.
Which was stolen from the pagans. So
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. No, they used to, the pagan ceremony was to put fruits in trees, which is how ornaments came about.
Yeah.
I'm praying for you all right now. So we're going to dive right into Hellboy. Now, this story is part of a larger series.
Yeah, it's part of an anthology. I think this is the second volume or second anthology they put together.
Right.
And so this story is The Christmas Underground. I am familiar with Hellboy, but I don't know a lot about him. Is he a good guy? From this story, I think he is.
He started off as a like a harbinger of hell. He was supposed to bring about the apocalypse, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Before that could happen, when he was an infant, a human being found him during his what he comes to call his dad. Found him during World War II because the Nazis pulled him out. Actually,
it's been adopted into 3 movies. I haven't seen the latest one. I haven't heard good ones.
Oh, it's not good. I saw it when I was flying out to Orlando.
But Sheriff Hopper's in it, and he looks so good.
It's not good. Yeah.
Your opinion
Right.
is wrong, Johnny, apparently.
No, it's bad.
Sheriff Hopper.
It seemed
It's amazing.
like I really had high hopes for it. The makeup, the Hellboy makeup is terrible.
Really?
Yeah, you can see,
Which is surprising considering the other Hellboy came out in the mid 2000s.
Yeah, but
and that looked pretty legit.
Ron Perlman's face was built to be Hellboy, just like it was built to be
There's actually
Beast.
true piece of trivia. That's actually not makeup.
They just painted his face red.
Yeah, he actually has all the horns, everything like that.
So,
go ahead.
yeah, so I was going to... The story,
Oh.
this particular story.
You want to get to the story?
It takes place in England in 1989 on Christmas Eve. We were all alive at this time.
Yeah,
Some
I
of our
would
listeners
have been a freshman.
may not have... Really?
In high
we
school,
were only
yeah.
freshmen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't that a
it
song by the
starts
Verve
off-
Pipe?
Yeah,
Okay, is this a church or is it a house?
it's a house.
It's a house.
Yeah,
So it starts off at a
it's
house.
Like an old
Yeah.
giant church or a castle house thing.
Yeah, and they have their own cemetery because they're rich.
And that's all I know about this first intro page.
Well, you're not giving a lot of backstory.
No.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's okay.
and you don't have to.
Have you read a bunch of Hellboy stories? I've never read it. This is actually my first
Oh,
Hellboy
really?
story, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, totally. I love them, but I've never read.
So none of these characters you're familiar with other than Hellboy in this
Yeah.
particular story?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Well, we're all on the same page.
They all seem to be very, like the priest seemed,
Yeah, so he starts talking to this guy. Someone's sick.
but he seems to be like completely familiar with Hellboy and like the BRPD. And,
I don't recognize him, but it's possible.
And like he's unfazed at this giant red demon
right.
thing.
Well, I think he called him specifically.
Oh, like the A-Team?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because it just starts. She won't
The
live
H
through the
team.
night. Are you sure? They're just talking. It's an elderly lady, apparently.
Well, like a woman's on her deathbed.
Right.
Yeah,
And
thank
she's
you.
sort of the matriarch of the family. And this guy who contacted Hellboy, is he the doctor?
Oh, I think you're right. I think he's a priest because I'm looking. He has a collar and he
Okay.
has the cross.
Yeah, he's a
and,
priest.
and he's like, hey, look, the matriarch of this family is about to is on death's bed, and she has this box she wants to give to the daughter, but the daughter disappeared like 15 years ago.
Right.
She went out one night and no one ever saw her again.
And then the family's been cursed ever since.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get that. Okay, that
This,
makes sense.
Yeah.
So the goal is to find the daughter.
That's this woman's like last dying
Right.
wish is like, please locate my daughter. And this priest knows, hey, she wandered out into the woods in the direction of the cemetery, and we know that's probably not good because that cemetery is evil.
Strange markings
Yeah.
or something like that. Yeah.
So he goes to talk to her, and she hands him this box. Is what she wants to give her daughter, and it's kind of cute. She thinks he's Santa Claus, and her state of dementia,
Yeah.
or because he's very red, so she's associating Hellboy with Saint Nicholas.
And like European Saint Nicholas, like not American version.
Right.
He's got the more like floppy hood with the
Right.
big pointy beard.
Not your typical Coca-Cola sellout
Yeah.
Saint Nick.
With the kind of draped over
right.
coat, not the sashed belt over
Totally.
a fat guy belly.
So this is where I confuse easily, apparently. So he goes out, Hellboy goes out to the cemetery, and
Well, it sounds like he kind of knows what's going on.
As soon as like,
but how does he get to the past? Like all of a sudden he's with
so he goes out to the graveyard and he realizes he starts seeing these little, like the creature says, beware. And he's like, oh, I know where to go. And then he looks at the tombstone and it's got markings on it. So he smashes it.
and he goes
And
down a
it's
tunnel.
like a portal.
Right.
Okay. Because every portal just has a stairway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Does he have like special powers to
He
get
does,
to
but
this?
no, he doesn't need special powers for this. He
Oh,
just
okay.
knows that there's a portal there.
This would be called a basement in my house. Okay. So he goes and he seems to see this like very beautiful Victorian home, Victorian candles. He meets the daughter.
Yeah, it's definitely from a different era.
Yeah. And they
Well,
talk.
and she hasn't aged at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's right away, he is not succumbing to the illusion
Right.
that's filling this room.
Ah, good point.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And then she talks about how other members of her family have joined her, which connects to the fact that they talked about other members of the family dying.
Her husband, the matriarch's husband and sons all
Right.
died prematurely.
And she talks about, is this when she talks about how she met her husband,
Yeah, he like
put a spell
So initially
on
she was
her?
drawn here by a mouse with silver eyes.
yeah.
And then she was drawn to this same portal. And then this handsome gentleman basically
Came out of the shadows with
Right.
a ring.
and brought her to his palace, which was under there. It was like a little island castle. And then he wooed her, proposed to her, and she married him.
So I told Johnny at this stage right here, this page, it felt very Labyrinth to me.
Oh, yeah.
When he's like, Sarah, I will give you everything that you want.
Yeah, it's a very
Yeah.
fairy tale-ish story where the princess is enchanted.
Right.
Well, and to be fair, most women sacrifice a lot for that ring. they just do.
Wow, including
Yeah.
the family.
Yeah.
As Frankie knows, she's about to get married
Right.
in a
Yes.
couple months. So
Right.
Yeah. I used to have pink sheets and a ruffled duvet. That's all gone.
they're just sweaty brown stains from Andy sweating through them.
Pretty much.
Her fiance is a giant of a man. Yeah, you
Not a giant, but
I wasn't referring to his crotchal area. I just meant his total overall size.
Well, to be fair, Johnny, anyone compared to you
Yeah,
is kind of a
that's
giant
true.
of a man.
That's true. That's true.
I think my kid's a giant of a man, too.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, and I think this is where she kind of starts leading him through the house and kind of talks how when her family above dies, they come to her. They
Well,
visit
I got
her.
the sense that this is whoever lured her in there. They're creating this illusion to try
Oh,
and
yeah.
attract Hellboy in. She's dead and gone, and I think this
Oh,
is an
she's
illusion.
dead?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's
Well, she's
sad.
been drawing various family members. I'm not sure if he's done this to draw Hellboy in. Hellboy just kind of busted in.
Well, it's like it's like Hellboy's in there, so he's in there. So now they're gonna try and get him to succumb so that this
but it's not working at all.
demon can.
Hellboy's like, whatever.
Yeah.
I've seen all this before.
So Hellboy gives her the gift, and it's a cross. And it's not just any cross. It's the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Jesus is pinned to the cross.
So this is a very religious story.
Yeah, and that's since
I think
Why,
all
it's
of them are.
Christmas?
He's Hellboy.
yeah. For some reason, as soon as she gets the cross, it looks like all the dead uprise.
Well, basically,
Like-
the illusion's kind of broken.
Oh,
I think
okay.
there's a connection between. There might be a spiritual connection between her and the grandma and
Well,
everything, and it kind of breaks the illusion.
I think this is like a creature of hell.
Right.
So once a holy artifact is brought in,
Right.
it just fractures all of the illusion. It burns it away.
And so
Sick.
those are all the damned souls of her relatives.
And who knows how many centuries of people
Right.
that have been lured to this.
So he
grave.
busts them up.
Yeah, and at one point, her ring comes off, and the ring turns into what looks like a snake.
Or a salamander.
Gecko.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of.
It's gross.
And then it grows,
And
and
it's
that's actually
golden.
been the creature. So the
Yeah.
creature's actually physically been bound to her. Their marriage has actually been, he's been part of her.
And then, okay, so is that where the priest comes back in? Because he says,
Well, he destroys they fight.
And then he kills
and
the
he's-
creature.
Well, and the priest is giving the woman her last rites.
She's dying at the same time. Simultaneously,
Now that the curse has been lifted, she
but
can.
how did the preacher get there? Because he was in a portal.
He's back at the house with the lady giving her last rites. Come on, you're Catholic. You should know this.
Oh, well,
So, yeah, so-
here it goes straight to the gecko. Does the gecko sneak into?
No. So
No.
Hellboy and the creature are now fighting
underground.
in the tomb.
And
okay.
simultaneously, while
He's
that's
gonna-
happening, the grandma or whatever, the matriarch, is dying in the
Yeah.
house,
And
and
his
the priest
last
is
rites.
administering the last rites.
Yeah.
I got you.
And I guess I think they don't imply it, but I think it's key that Hellboy kills the creature before the grandma dies.
Yeah.
Because if she dies before,
Like the spell's not broken.
yeah, and then maybe
I'm
her soul
following.
might get swept up like everyone else's.
Okay.
You know,
And-
that old trope.
Yeah.
Every Disney movie I've seen.
And then the little gecko turns into like this big werewolf.
Well, I think the creature was like the guardian to the main boss. Like the ring was like the barrier to the actual.
I just thought the creature transformed.
Yeah.
Or it could be a minion.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And they fight. Boom, boom, boom. That's all it says for like 3
Well, 'cause
pages.
the fight is so intense.
Right.
It's like causing an earthquake around the castle.
Oh, I got it.
Hey, what's
I
up?
see.
We're waving hi to the listener to Odin from
Yeah.
Odin Makes.
Yeah.
We share a studio space with Odin.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's
yeah. If you haven't seen Odin Makes, go check out on
Yeah.
YouTube. Odin Makes. He makes awesome cosplay props and costume pieces.
Speaking of which,
and
Hellboy.
Hellboy, he made both the right-handed Doom and what's his gun?
Gun.
God, I forgot the name now.
Bringer of Justice.
But
Peacemaker.
if you check out our Instagram, you can see me holding it.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
both Johnny and I are both
Yeah.
holding it.
That sounded not age appropriate.
Yeah, we were holding Odin's gun.
So when we get
In
back
both
to the
hands.
book, the lady's on her bed still dying, but the ghost of the daughter comes to her and tells her, like, don't be afraid. It's okay.
Yeah.
Now, this is the part I was a little weirded out, not weirded, confused by, is because, so the daughter's holding the cross, but she's all fiery, so I wasn't sure if she was still possessed by whatever.
No. I think she's been freed.
Okay.
So her family, the entire family's been trapped down there. Like their souls have been trapped in this tomb with this creature, and then now that the ring's off of her finger, she's been freed
So she grabs the grandma's hand
to take her to heaven.
but then she ignites the room on fire as a result?
No, I
Well-
think she's just.
Not
no, the
yet.
room-
No, the room's not on fire yet.
Well, how did the room catch on
well,
fire?
she catches the building on fire.
Oh.
But I think it's just her fiery spirit taking her to heaven.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because she does say, the old lady says, like, I'm so old, and she's like, forgive me for that. Like, maybe she was trying to, like, not let her mom die because she didn't want her to be swept into that.
Hmm.
Or the daughter was like or because the mom loved the daughter so much, she couldn't let her life, end until she knew definitively what had happened to her daughter.
Right.
That's a good point. And then Hellboy and this creature are still fighting.
Hellboy wins.
Well, I love this.
Spoiler.
They're fighting in front of the church, and people are at midnight mass. It says. I was like, oh, okay, I get that. That's
Does
coming
it
back
normally
to Christmas.
happen? Because I would totally go to midnight mass more. Are there fights?
Oh.
Hellboy fights.
Yeah.
I mean, you fight with your own limitations as a human being to become more Christ-like.
Boring.
Yeah, so then the creature morphs again into this weird demon-looking thing, and he throws him off from
I think he throws him back into the tomb.
That makes
But
sense.
now that
okay.
he doesn't have his ring, he's just a corpse.
Oh no!
'Cause as he
it's
falls,
daylight. It becomes daylight, right?
No,
No,
that's still not-
becomes Christmas Day. Remember? Because he.
Oh, that's right. If he's not back in the ground before
Right.
Christmas Day,
Right, and then he's like, "Hey, it's like Merry Christmas," and then that's when he dies.
Yeah, that would have been the Arnold Schwarzenegger line.
That's like
Merry Christmas.
right.
You're dead.
That's like his yippee-ki-yay motherfucker bit.
So I don't know what this story had to do with Christmas.
Clearly, one, Christ, the power of Christ compelled the daughter to break free of the spell, and two, the fact that it became Christmas Day vanquished the evil demon.
Yeah. And Hellboy's red, just like Jesus was.
Yeah.
Santa.
No, Jesus
Santa,
wasn't
Satan,
Jesus bright red.
Only a difference of a
No.
few letters.
It
I
was
swear Jesus was bright red.
it was an easy read.
I liked it.
Yeah, I liked the story. It was different. It wasn't
Art
like
was solid. You didn't
Yeah.
have to know a lot of backstory.
it's typical Hellboy art, which I love. It's
Yeah.
it's weird,
Yeah.
weirdly simple,
No, I loved it.
without or minimalist.
Yeah, I will agree with Dennis. I knew nothing, and I could follow the story right away.
Yeah.
Is the whole series all Christmas themed,
No. The series,
or the whole book? Sorry, I should
the
say.
whole anthology is just like different short stories.
Okay.
Some of them are drawn by different people.
And
So
that's
some of them
unique
are
to
more
this collection.
Yeah, some of them are more painterly. Some look like they were done with like charcoals.
Yeah.
So
I was telling our co-host Johnny earlier, I had a hard time downloading this book. So I tried to just Google it to get it offline, but I can only get random pages at a time. And I thought the story, from what I saw, was more like what you said, the ghost of Christmas past, Christmas
Oh.
present, Christmas future. So when I saw this, it's not that at all. But it was still good. It was actually better than I
somewhat
thought.
Dickensian story
Yeah, I think because the clothes and the era, I was thinking.
and a castle is very
Right.
Victorian.
Yeah. So I was huh.
Which they do have variations of that. There's, I think there's a Marvel Zombies one where it involves a Christmas Carol kind of story, but involves zombies.
That's
Did
hilarious.
you like the book, Dennis,
Oh,
or
yeah.
the story?
I'm a big Hellboy fan in terms of I like the art, the story is
And
good.
then so there's the Hellboy line, but then there's the BPRD,
Oh, yeah,
right?
totally.
Or BRP. What is it? Bureau Paranormal
Yeah,
Research and Defense.
BPRD.
Yeah, BPRD. There's that whole series too.
Right.
That's separate,
Mhm.
right?
Well, would you recommend the read?
Absolutely. Definitely, I'll be reading this to my children at Christmas time. It'll be a Christmas tradition. Gather around, kids. 'Twas the night before hell.
It's, the night before Hellboy. What about you, Frankie?
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I don't know that I'd read it every night before Christmas.
Did it?
It
Did
was
it
the most
offend your Catholic sensibilities?
It's the most pro-Christian we've read of all the
That's
books.
true. And the fact that Johnny picked it out, I was shocked. Wow,
That's
it's
for our
dear
Christmas edition.
I know, but you're not. I know. I really like that they highlighted Midnight Mass because it's a thing. I thought it was.
It is a thing.
It's a big stretch to say it's a Christmas story, but
Is it? It takes place on Christmas. That's
Eve.
not a stretch.
And ends
Eve, which I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I find Eve bigger to me than Christmas Day. Christmas Day is like Christmas morning, and that's it for me.
and then
Christmas
it's like a
Eve's
letdown,
bigger.
right?
Yeah.
The rest of the day. Okay, so I'm gonna ask this question because we know I'm very Catholic. Johnny's very not Catholic. Do you still celebrate Christmas?
Yeah, I like giving gifts. I like coming together for my family. With
So
my
what do
family.
you call it? Do you still call it Christmas,
Yeah,
or do you
it's
just call it okay?
He just burns a little bit
Yeah.
when he says it.
My skin's a little red by the end of the day.
Because my fiance also is not so much into God, not so much a believer, but he like loves Christmas, and I'm like, that's cool. Don't
See-
believe, but you don't get to celebrate Christmas.
Absolutely, you can't.
Like you don't
Yeah.
get to pick and choose. It's literally
No.
Christmas. So he doesn't celebrate
If
that. He doesn't
Coca-Cola
recognize
can use
God.
Santa Claus to hawk.
I'm pretty
items.
sure Christmas has been taken over by corporations.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay.
The almighty
Corporation
dollar.
wins.
Well,
Yeah.
I will light a candle for everyone this year.
You take that candle, you break it off. No, I'm just kidding.
I think it's a good point, though. It is a good time for family.
Yeah, that's what I like.
to,
I'm not a big Christmas person, but I like when we
I
all
love
get together
Christmas.
and make dinner.
I have a huge Christmas music collection. I love Christmas.
We did buy the Charlie Brown Christmas on vinyl.
I have
and
like
we
every
like to play
genre of Christmas music. I have. You want some ska? You want some ska Christmas? You want some yacht rock Christmas? You want some acapella?
some Nazi
old
death
school?
metal.
I do have some metal.
Nazi death metal.
Metal?
No, all right. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. We really appreciate it. Merry Christmas.
Ho ho ho!